Hello everyone, myself Sumangla Biradar. In this video, we'll learn about relational model constraints. In last video, we already discussed about different types of the relational model constraints. Next, we'll see in details about each constraint. Even we also know that what actually domain constraints means. Domain constraints means values must be atomic, and what actually key constraints. Key constraints means what? So in the key constraint, first it comes with the super key. If it holds this uniqueness property, then we call that one as a super key here. If it holds both uniqueness property and minimality property, then we call such type of the attributes as a key constraint here. So for that, in the last video, I already demonstrated with this example. Next we'll go for the some more constraints comes under in this. So for example, here I taken this same example and I continued with the same concept. As we know that USN and name I can take as a what here? Super key here. Yes, it holds the uniqueness property. That's why I can take USN and name as a uniqueness property here. Next, so among these two, each individual key we can call as a candidate keys here. Okay. So combination of attributes, if you are taken as a super key, then each individual attributes you can call as a candidate key here. Yes, candidate keys are what here in the super key. USN is one candidate key and name is also another candidate key here. Next is key. So key holds what it is? It holds the uniqueness property and also minimality property. If I remove this name from the super key, yes, with the help of the USN, I can identify that is uniqueness property is holds here, and also it reduces the number of keys in the super key as a minimality property here. So then we call this one as what here? Primary key here. So now these name and USN are what are? These are the members of the primary key here. Name is also member of the primary key and USN is also a member of the primary key. But this USN is your primary key. Then what about this name as a candidate key here? Yes, this candidate key you can also call as secondary key here. Okay, USN is your primary key and this candidate key you can also call as what it is, secondary key here. Okay. Next is entity integrity. Next we'll see about some of the constraints comes under in this integrity constraints. Integrity constraints means what it is. What are the conditions comes under in relational data model? No, those conditions if it is satisfied, then integrity constraint states that it is a valid and yes you can move further for the further operation. So if any of the constraints whatever you specified, if it is not satisfied, then you call that state as a not valid state. Not valid state means what? It gives or specifies the error message here. So among some of the integrity constraints, first integrity constraints are entity integrity. What actually entity integrity means? Before going to tell about this entity integrity, so in this field, you have to identify which attribute is the primary key. Which attribute is primary key now here? So USN is your primary key which holds unique property. With the help of this USN, I can identify this tuple. Okay, if I know 1 2 3 4 5, with the help of that I can retrieve the remaining information about the student, as this unique identification is with the help of this USN number. In the same way, 67891 is the unique here. With the help of this USN number, I can identify the student. If I know USN number, if I tell the USN number, then yes, this is the information related to that particular student. Like that, I can identify here. So that's why this is your primary key here. Then what actually entity integrity tells here? So for example, if I don't know what is the USN number, in the place of USN number, if I enter null here, what happens here? Is it possible to identify that particular student here? As I told example, if I know the USN number, then I can identify the student. With the help of this USN number, I can identify the student here. So for the USN, if I enter null, Then how will identify this is the student informations to related to this. For this one, I'll take simple your example. So while going for searching your result, first thing is what you have to enter your USN number. If you enter USN number, then it identifies that yes, this is the student, and student related information you can get from the video server here. If I don't enter any USN number, then is it possible to see your result? No, because if I enter the null, then identifying that student is highly impossible. So that is what we call as entity integrity constraint. What it tells? Entity integrity constraints specifies that primary key should not be null here. It emphasizes that primary key should not be null here. If it is null, then it is not possible to differentiate the students here. Okay, that is what we call as a entity integrity. What emphasizes entity integrity? Primary key should not be null here. Okay. Next type of the integrity constraint. So that is we actually call as a referential integrity constraint. For example, I'll take student and department. Is there any relationship between these two? Yes, students will belongs to some particular department. If student want to take admission, then that student must be belong to some of the department here. Then I need to specify that here student and department are related. That relationship you have to specify here. Okay, how it is related? That is what based on the branch. The student is related to ISC branch and this student is related to CSE branch, and that branch informations you will get from department table. As department table holds information related to branch, and student holds information related to student. Okay, there is some relationship between these two here. So how it is related? With the help of the one of the key here. That key only we call as a foreign key here. Okay, student and department are related with the help of one key, that is what we call as a foreign key here. If you want to take as a foreign key, for that in another table that attribute must be primary key here. In the department table, branch is what? It is a primary key here. And same attribute if you are taking the student table, that attribute what we call as a foreign key here. So in which table if you are having the foreign key, that table we call as what? Dependent table. This is dependent table, and this dependent table is depend on parent table. Which is your parent table? Which contains primary key. Primary key contains table we call as parent table, and foreign key contains table we call as what here? Dependent table. And the student table is dependent table and department table is okay, it is the parent table. It contains the primary key. If you want to relate the any two tables, one thing you remember, so in one table, in parent table, that attribute must be primary key, and in dependent table that attribute must be foreign key. And what are the domain you'll take for these two attributes? No, for primary key and foreign key, the domain must be same here. Domain is nothing but what are the format you'll take for this primary key attribute? No, same format must be you have to apply for this foreign key table, okay, attribute also. And data type of this primary key and foreign key data type and data format must be same here. Okay, so now here branch is what? Branch is the foreign key, and it depends on the parent table. What does that parent table contains? That must be primary key here. One table primary key and another table foreign key here, and that is what we call as a referencing. Okay, dependent table refers parent table here. Okay, so that is what we call as a referencing. And for this also, while relating these two tables, while specifying that these two are related, with the help of foreign key and foreign key primary key you can relate. While relating, one constraints you have to follow, that is what we call as a referential integrity. What referential integrity tells? Okay, tuples of foreign key must be equals to tuples of primary key here. What it indicates, for example, foreign key tuples are what here? So ISC, ISC and CSC. And primary key tuples are what? ISC and CSC. Is it equal or not? Yes. Here you are having ISC, it is equal to ISC. This ISC is equal to ISC and this CSC equal to CSC. If this condition holds, that is what we call as a referential integrity. In simple, what are the values you are assigned for primary key? No, only those values you can take as a values for the foreign key here. For example, okay, if I enter in the place of CSC for the foreign key, if I enter the value as a MCA, yes, this condition holds. No, foreign key I enter the tuple value as a MCA, and for the primary key is it available? No, see here only two branches are there, ISC and CSC, so MCA is not there. Then this constraint not holds here. Then you call this one as a not valid state here. Then it gives the error message. Okay, that is what we call as a referential integrity. Referential integrity means what it is? Okay, foreign key values must refer to the primary key values here. What are the values you will take for the primary key? No, only those values you can take for the foreign key here. Then you call the tuple T1 reference or refers to tuple T2 here. This is about your referential integrity constraint. Is it clear? Okay. Next, some of other types of the constraints are there. Semantic integrity constraint. Semantic integrity constraint, I'll take the same example here. So for example, in this example, here I have the USA number and a Raj here. In the place of the Raj, if I enter 3 or simple I will enter AAA. It doesn't have any meaning here. A1, 2, 3 like this. Is it correct? No, it is not correct. Name means what? What are the name you are entered? No, that value must be having the some meaning here. So such type of the constraints what we call? We call as a semantic integrity constraints here. For all the attributes, what are the values you will enter? No, those values also have some meaning here. According to the requirement only how to enter. That is what we call as a semantic integrity constraint. For that you have to write the some operations here, whether it is correct or not, verifying for that. Next is triggers and assertion. Triggers and assertions are related with the applications. As I told, application related, okay. Also you are having the some constraints that is application oriented. If I take the company database, employer salary must be greater than the employee salary. So that is the application related constraints. If you are not follow by mistake for the employee, if you are enter the salary greater than employer, then if it takes it is wrong here, then it should give some error message here. That condition only it is verified or okay satisfied. That is what we call as a triggers or assertion. Triggers or assertions are specifying the constraints based on your application. Next, so what are the application oriented conditions or constraints you will specify? No, those we call as a transition constraints, and other than that remaining constraints we call as a state constraints here. State constraints are what? That is implicit and explicit constraints comes under in the state constraints, and based on the application business rules, what are the constraints you will specify? Now those we call as a transition constraints here. In the state constraints you are using the two states, valid and not valid. Okay, so valid state or not a valid state here. These are the two types of the state constraints, and transition constraints are depends on your triggers and the assertion here. So this is about your types of the relational model constraints here. Is it clear now? Okay, thank you.